I take this opportunity to welcome you in the awareness of our oneness. One source, one consciousness, one God, one life. A unity in diversity, the one is the many. It is in this holistic awareness, in this very moment, that you are welcome. First and foremost, let us endeavor to be as wakeful as it is possible for us to be in this here, now moment. There is only one. And if there is only one, I am, all is one. So let us practice the principle of inclusion. All that encounters us in this moment, everything that surrounds us, is consciousness. We are consciousness, and all forms that we encounter are the same consciousness. Inclusion. Include this screen upon which I am appearing. Include all the other forms of consciousness that surround you in this moment. There is only one blissful consciousness. Consciousness is blissful by nature. All forms of consciousness are blissful by nature. There is only one in this here and now moment of blissful consciousness. So let us endeavor to maintain this inclusive, focused awareness as we continue in this session. Our question is from Sven Johnson. There are many stories about ghosts. What is the truth? There are ghosts and there are not ghosts. It depends on you. If you believe there are ghosts, then there are ghosts for you, because you create them through your beliefs about them. If you do not believe in ghosts, there are no ghosts for you, because you do not create them. You do not believe in ghosts. It also depends on the definition of ghosts. For most people, a ghost is something separate and different from them, an entity, a spirit that is there to do harm to them, to frighten them, to be life negative in one way or another. And this, of course, is illusion. First and foremost, there is nothing that is separate and different from us. There is only one consciousness in all forms of consciousness in 50 billion simultaneous universes. Most importantly, human beings are multidimensional forms of consciousness. We have our dense dimensions and our subtle dimensions. The subtle dimensions correspond to universal consciousness and are more unified within relative reality. There is maximum awareness, holistic awareness, and the experience of oneness. But our denser dimensions are more fragmented and imbalanced, and we forfeit our holistic self-awareness within these dimensions. Then there is the question of physical death. What happens when the physical body dies? It is only one dimension of our multidimensional consciousness. The other dimensions continue. It is a progressive process of ever increasing integrative wholeness. If the individuated consciousness has experienced consistent unification at the time of the death of the physical body, it remains more subtle, dominant, and unified in its experience. Such subtle forms of consciousness in their continuation, in relation to human experience, we would refer to as angels or ascended masters or mystics or saints or sages or enlightened ones. And our definition of them would be life affirmative, non-threatening, non-illusory. But if the individuated consciousness at the time of the death of the physical body has not evolved consistent holistic awareness and subtle dimensional dominance, but remains mired in the physical, emotional, and mental dimensions of experience, the continuation of experience post-physical death remains in these denser dimensions. And it is these more fragmented forms of individuated consciousness that we perceive as what is known as ghosts. Those who are not yet evolved enough to experience the light, the holistic light of truthful oneness, but rather remain fragmented, mired in the illusion of separation, fear-based, conflicted, life negative, and suffering. And our perception of them informs our definition of them. They are more subtle than we are, for they have relinquished the densest dimension, the physical. But they are not yet subtle in terms of the unified levels of universal consciousness, and thus continue in the progressive process of ever increasing integrative wholeness within the denser dimensions of the emotional and the physical, the emotional and the mental as the dominant dimensions of their experience. So yes, there are many stories about ghosts. There are many stories about those who are still journeying within the denser dimensions of the emotional and mental as dominant dimensions. And these definitions and perceptions are appropriate, just as the definitions and perceptions of those individuated consciousnesses that have moved into the subtler dimensions as dominant dimensions in their experience and are journeying in a more consistent unification of their consciousness or wholeness. Again, those that we perceive of as ascended masters, enlightening beings, the angelic realms of unified consciousness. So there are ghosts and there are not ghosts. As always, it depends on your definition, your belief. If your belief is illusory, then you experience your illusory belief. If your belief is more truthful, you likewise experience a more truthful perception of reality. So, in this understanding, ghosts, angels, ascended masters, saints, sages, the unified levels of consciousness are all individuated forms of consciousness at different levels of the progressive process of ever-increasing integrative wholeness that is known as evolution. And just as all forms evolve, so do we as an individuated form of consciousness evolve. We in this moment, in this form, are evolving our wholeness. So the question, most importantly, always is, who are you now? Who are you choosing to be? Who are you experiencing yourself to be? Are you mired in illusion and experiencing illusory experience? Or are you substantiated in truth and experiencing truthful experience? For example, are you being inclusive right here and right now of the one consciousness that is all, of the one that is the many? Are you holistically aware that all and everything that you are perceiving in this moment is but another form of the same blissful consciousness that you are? There is only one, and in a truthful experience of oneness, there is no other. Just the myriad evolving forms of individuated consciousness that day by day, moment by moment, are more than they have ever been. So this then is the answer to your question. That the question and the answer are the same blissful consciousness, because there is only one. So once again, I welcome you in the awareness of our oneness. Yes.